Today on Locked On Rockies, it took until the, fifth, sixth inning again for the Rockies to break up another near perfect game. But at least the good news is Hunter Goodman has cemented himself as having one of, if not maybe the best, season for a Rockies catcher.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. Today, we'll recap the Rockies' loss to the Dodgers. Look at Hunter Goodman's great season. Hey, that is the small sliver of victory for the Rockies here, as they have their first 30 home run hitter since 2019. The sting a little bit in that. The last time it happened for the Rockies, it was multiple players hitting 30-plus home runs in a season for the club. But that doesn't take away from the fact that Hunter Goodman is doing stuff that we haven't seen a lot at the catcher position, especially in the Rockies uniform. So we'll talk about that, and we'll answer a question from the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section from Felix, asking what will make Tovar take that step into star level, and should we expect him to make that step? We'll look at that and kind of what it would take for some of these Rockies players to take a step into quote-unquote stardom, just by kind of comparing where the Rockies players are at performance-wise to the rest of the division. At least that's a benchmark we have to continue to use. Before we could go any further today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. So, once again, the Colorado Rockies are completely flabbergasted and dominated from a very good pitcher. When a pitcher can go up and have confidence, as we saw the first time that the Rockies matched up there against Sheehan there, it was the same exact story. The same exact storyline played out right there as the Rockies fall here and get no hit actually on the a perfect game going up until I believe the fifth or sixth inning there. Rockies of course avoiding the shutout at least, but the fact of the matter is this was a really ugly performance by the Rockies offense yet again. This was a 12 strikeout performance. This was another where it was 9 strikeouts from the start of their Sheehan, and then another 3 strikeouts added by the Dodgers bullpen. What is just something that is just not. We ask the question from Felix here from the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. When does Tovar make that leap into a star level? Should we expect him to make that leap next year? Hopefully, but that leap, it's not looking as outmatched as you are at the dish. That's like one level. We're going to dive deeper into this throughout the show, but like, what's just so painfully obvious is pitchers are just so confident and so prepared and feel like they can do whatever they want against the Rockies. They can throw off-speed stuff, and again, it's nasty stuff. It's stuff that's elite stuff. It is the Dodgers we're talking about after all here, but we're talking about a team now in back-to-back games have had over 10 strikeouts. I believe it was 11 in the first game and 12 in the second game. We're talking about 2 games now here where the Rockies have struck out 23 times. That is just such a massive problem. That is just being, it's just dominated. It's just the pitcher can go up there and say, I am better than you. I can throw whatever I'm going to throw, and you're going to swing at it. You're going to swing and miss. You're not going to be able to get anything done. It's just what is so painfully obvious is just that pitching staffs are just ready to take on the Rockies here. There's no one outside of maybe Hunter Goodman, and even he had 3 strikeouts on the night before hitting the home run. We're talking about Ezekiel Tovar, three strikeouts, Hunter Goodman, 3 strikeouts, Brenton Doyle, 2 strikeouts, Michael Toglia, who returns to the majors there with 2 strikeouts. It's crooked numbers of guys that are far too crucial for the Rockies, and these are the guys that have had problems with this. This is stuff that needs to be worked on. This is stuff that you guys got to be in the and it's still great to see again the Hunter Goodman home run, but what's going to prevent these guys from the next level is when pitchers are able to go in there and they're going to just strike you out 3 times. They know they're going to catch you off balance with something breaking in the dirt. They know they're going to catch you out in front. They know they're going to take advantage of your super eager. You got to swing, you got to hit, you got to jump on that first pitch. You're so aggressive. It is just so obvious that the Rockies are so far behind the 8 ball when it comes to facing elite level talent pitchers. And it goes back to everything we were saying yesterday. It goes back to all the question marks about the development of these players here. This is a team that is now in 2 games worth of baseball have 6 hits. You know, and again, I understand the level of competition, but again, we can't just sit there and use that as the excuse when this is the division. These are teams you play all the time. This is the norm for where you're at, and it's not surprising anyone that the Dodgers continue to throttle the Colorado Rockies. It's not a surprise that the Dodgers continue to not only handle, to get the wins, but to dominate, to just absolutely destroy the Colorado Rockies. Luckily now, in the most recent series, the Rockies have had a couple of games where they've kept it somewhat close, but they haven't felt that close. It was only a 2-run loss yesterday, but it was dominated. It's a 5-run loss here where you're dominated, and you look at it's 10-2. The Rockies have lost to the Dodgers. And when you look at these losses for the Rockies here, you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games at minimum, or 5 games out of the 12 that they've played. So nearly half the games where the Rockies have lost by 4 or more runs. Attacking the fact that it was a near no-hitter, attacking the fact that they went through a similar issue against the Dodgers before. I mean, it just shows you how far they have to go. And then added on top of that, it's just the horrendous starting pitching for the Rockies continues. I'm going to read a tweet here from Patrick Saunders about the Rockies pitching staff here. Rocky starters have a 6.67 ERA, which is on pace to supplant the 1996 Tigers for the highest in the majors' modern era. It's another example of the Rockies being of setting a course for horrendous for a horrendous record. I mean, across the board. It's absolutely horrendous. I'm trying to see if there's any more updates just from the Hunter Goodman performance. We'll see if anything else breaks on that. But I want to read one more here from let's see here. And this is just from Nicholas, Sad Rockies fan here on Twitter. The Rockies, after this game, currently have a run differential of minus 377. They are officially closer to being the first team in the modern era to reach minus 400 than the previous record of minus 349. I mean, that's the reality. There is no easy fix from this. There is no simple bounce back. There's no finish the season strong and it sets the course for a bounce back or exciting year in 2026. The Colorado Rockies are a complete and total mess right now. And the good vibes of a hot start in the second half of the season have been washed away by the reminder that the division just dominates you. that not a single person and not a single team in the division has any sort of a worry about you. You are nothing but stat padding and bounce back performances for these teams. It's the as we've said before, you cannot hide from the numbers. You are bound by the history that you continue to make time and time again this season, and it's not the right type of history. It's the history that stains your legacy and continues to, plague you. I don't know. It's just a tough another tough game where it's just you're just watching that thing, and you just know that the Rockies don't have a chance. That you know that they have so far to go. But let's talk about the good news here for the Rockies here. Hunter Goodman has done something that the Rockies have not seen since 2019, and there might be an argument to be made here for best season for a Rockies catcher ever. Let's talk about that coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You can use FanDuel because it's going to fit however you like to bet. There's going to be player props. There's building those same-game parlays. Or if you love getting in on the action live, you got a hunch, you're watching the game, you see it, you know it, you're feeling the flow, you're feeling the energy, well, you can jump in on the live action as the game unfolds. You can make every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. Why not have a little more fun with your fantasy wins by getting in on an anytime touchdown scorer or a passing props play there with some of your fantasy players there? It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. And that's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet, because when it wins, you'll get $300. Yes, $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That's FanDuel.com. We are also brought to you by Nutrafol here. You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There's so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. And it's not just hype. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with the proactive approach. Hey, listen, it's no secret in my family if you're talking about it. Losing your hair, it's a thing that is a real deal, especially for people in my family. And it's something I'm starting to pay attention to as well. Nutrafol is simple to add to your day. 4 pills with the meal, no prescription needed. It's easy. And you can feel good knowing that Nutrafol is an NSF certified and backed by peer-reviewed study. See thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Locked On Rockies here, back with you for segment number 2 of today's episode of the Locked On Rockies podcast. Free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. All right, so The Rockies here, the good news, the exciting news is we're kind of continuing the theme of what do we need to see for players to take the next step. And Hunter Goodman has clearly taken a step forward this year and has shown that he's someone to keep your eyes on for the Rockies, someone that can absolutely, if you're getting this level of offensive production from the catcher position, not everyone's going to be Cal Raleigh, mind you, but the Rocky, I believe, as the broadcaster saying, this is one of the first 30-year home run performances from a catcher in the National League. And I believe it was like 20-something years they were talking about. First time the Rockies have had a 30 home run hitter since 2019. And they also showed this graphic on the broadcast tonight where Hunter Goodman ranks for a primary catcher season here. First in hits, first in extra base hits, first in home runs, and first in RBI. And now all of those actually increase here at the end. He was in had all these categories, so now he's in first with 134 hits, 59 extra base hits, 30 home runs, and 87 RBI. Plain and simple. I mean, I think when you rank at that high of a category in such crucial parts, you're the team's all-star. A month, as crazy as it is. I mean, the worst season in Colorado Rockies history. Hunter Goodman's having the best season for a Rockies catcher in history. Now, I'd like to see a little bit more from growth from Hunter on the defensive side. I'd like to see the Rockies become better as a defensively against stealing bases. I think it's something both on the off. We know the Rockies with their terrible stealing percentage. They're not only high and not only stealing aggressiveness in stealing bags, but their success in stealing bags. But if this will be the norm for Hunter Goodman, and maybe it's not always 30 home runs, but if it's 20 plus home runs and you're able to sit there with that, with extra base hits that lead the team, if you're sitting there at 50 plus extra base hits, you're sitting there at 25 plus 20, 25, even now we're looking at 30 home run guy, an RBI generator. This will be an awesome ad. Again, it's another situation where I kind of look at him with the Ezekiel Tovar situation where he can't be the main piece. He can't be the main element, especially with these strikeout issues that we're seeing with him. But man, oh man, if you can get some really, really professional hitters around him as well, he's going to just add a ton of depth, a ton of threat to your lineup here. It's kind of, I guess, crazy to say, oh, how do you think he's not going to? He can't be a consistent middle of the order guy with this performance. One, we need to see him replicated, right? We need to, with all the young Rockies players, it's all about replicating this, and it's all about doing it again. It's all about making sure that this is the norm and this is the standard for your play going forward. This has to be, for us to be as excited about the future of Hunter Goodman and what he can do, is this has to be the norm for him. This can't be the really 1 year exciting thing that we hold on to and hope that he reaches for and hope that he gets back to. This has to be the norm for Hunter Goodman going forward. He has to be someone that the Rockies can count on offensively, be someone that will be the impact guy that they're looking for. As he's also got the 282 batting average. Again, a very, very solid season for him across the board here. 17th, tied for 17th in home run, tied for 23rd in batting average, tied for 22nd in RBI, and 17th in OPS. If this is the standard for what we can expect for Hunter Goodman, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. The strikeouts still a problem, but my point is, before we can fully count on this being going fully gung-ho with the Hunter Goodman stuff, is we got to see it replicated. But he has looked prepared and ready for this for the majors since he's got here. People were excited about him going in there, and he clearly put in the work to put himself in the position to be successful in spring, which gave him the opportunity. And since he's been given that opportunity, he has done nothing but impress throughout the entire season. As much as the rest of the team and as much as there needs to be growth there, Hunter Goodman can at least sit there and say he's done his job this year. He's not only done his job, but the work he's seeing the benefits of the work that he's putting in. He's seeing the benefits of his approach. It's just going to be now recreating that throughout the rest of his career. it's unfortunate, as you know, we're going through this season with Brenton Doyle, and the turnaround's great, right? And you know, Ezekiel Tovar is in this conversation, but the health is a question. We're in moments here where these guys need to make it make it a point to make this success be the norm for them. As we're also seeing Michael Tolley return to the lineup, strike out again in situations where it looks like things might be leaving some of these guys behind if you're not up to making it. Hunter Goodman this year has made adjustments. Hunter Goodman this year has rose to the occasion, and Hunter Goodman has solidified himself as one of the great, at least, you know, throughout all of this, at least all of the bad stuff that'll be associated with 2025 in the history books that mention the Rockies. Hunter Goodman at least will be able to sit there and say, if you look at it though, I succeeded. And I don't. It's not like it's going to be like, oh, look at me. It's that, but he can take that, and that is a victory. That makes this long season, a grueling season at a grueling position, a little bit better when you're seeing yourself do stuff that when you're producing at a position the Rockies have never seen production at like this. It'll be up for the Rockies to be able to capitalize the most on capitalizing on good performances from these guys as well, because a great Hunter Goodman season, the greatest season in Rockies catching, of offensive performance for a Rockies catcher, means nothing when you've lost 103 games. When you're when you're still in September, you're heading into September 10th now without your 41st win. As great as it is, and for him individually and for his development and all that stuff, awesome, incredible. But now how do you make that actually mean something in the big picture, in the big scheme of things? And that's what this question from Felix is so interesting about, is how do the Rockies get some stars? We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about what it takes for these guys to turn into stars coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about some of the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Gametime. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person, but actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees, it takes all the fun out of it. That's why I use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all the fees are included. So the price you see, the price you pay. That's right there. Boom. Is this in my budget? Is it not? I don't got any hidden things. Am I going to the game? Boom. Gametime makes it super simple. You can see the exact view from your seat before buying. That is the great stuff. That is a nice added bonus. Just talk about the peace of mind. Boom. You know exactly where you're going to sit, and you know exactly what you're going to pay, because the fees are included, knowing your total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go, download Gametime today. Locked On Rockies here, segment number 3 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services here on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel as well. All right, so one of the questions here in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section comes from Felix. When does Tovar make that leap into a star level? Should we expect him to make that leap next year, as we were talking about the Rockies core and ESPN saying there's no elite level talent on this team? It's hard to tell. I think that this was the year that we were hoping that Ezekiel Tovar was going to take that leap, but the injuries got in the way. And I think there is a possibility that there are Rockies players that can take the leaps into the levels of, I think, elite or great level players. I think if Brenton Doyle is able to be last year's version of Brenton Doyle, and the moments, the good stretches we've seen of Brenton Doyle here on offense, I mean, the defense he's not been in the same spot defensively as he was last year. He's not been the same defensive center fielder. So maybe that we'll need to pump the brakes there. But for an Ezekiel Tovar, for a Hunter Goodman, these guys need to continue to drive the Rockies forward, drive the Rockies in terms of production and where they're at. But I think you have to remind yourself and kind of look at this. And I know that WAR is only one statistic here, but Hunter Goodman is at a 3.1 WAR this season. That would make him, in terms of WAR, the sixth best player on the Dodgers, if you're just going by ranking it off of WAR. That puts him behind Max Muncy, Mookie Betts, Yamamoto, Will Smith, and Shohei Ohtani. Not surprising. These guys are all stars, but that, when you're talking about stardom, like a 3 WAR is minimum, right? Freddie Freeman, a 2.7 WAR. People are saying Mookie Betts has had a bad season by his standards, yet he's by WAR the 4th best player on the Dodgers here. And when you look at his numbers, you would kill to have that level of production for the Colorado Rockies. Let's go to the Padres here in that same scale. Hunter Goodman, in terms of WAR, actually would be up to 4th there, but you're still talking about Manny Machado at a 3.6, Nick Pivetta at a 5.1, and a Fernando Tatis at 5.4. Granted, these are different positions. These are different, things like that. I understand that, but it just kind of shows you that to be a star, you have to be hitting that level, and you have to be hitting that level consistently. Again, Manny Machado is a star, 3.6 WAR, and maybe you're looking at some of the stuff. It's not as impressive in some ways, but this is a guy that's got 33 doubles, 84 RBI, walked, got 51 walks here. He's got 155 hits this season. When you're looking at, just the Rockies here, when you're talking about someone with 155 hits, no one has 150 hits on the Colorado Rockies this year. Hunter Goodman's got 133, and he leads the team. Let's again, and so that's it just kind of there's this extra gear where it's got to be consistent production throughout the year on both sides of the ball, offensive and defensively, for you to kind of enter that stardom. And Tovar can get there. I think Tovar's ability to hit doubles, I think Tovar's power potential, I think Tovar's glove does set the stage for him to become a star player. And I think a healthy season next year could be that moment, as he still really is young. And I think if Hunter Goodman replicates it, that's going to show us that next step, and it kind of develops a little bit more on the defensive side. They can be stars. I think those are really the two guys that are close to that. Brenton Doyle, I think the inconsistencies are a little bit too worrisome for maybe that elite level talent, but can still be a great player. Let's just continue our comparison here. He would be Hunter Goodman would be the 5th best player on the Giants, behind Robbie Ray, Willie Adames, Logan Webb, and Matt Chapman. Obviously, the Giants getting a lot of pitching performance there from their top level players. So again, this is a situation where Hunter Goodman would be something. But what do people say about the Giants? Not a lot of stars on that team, right? They do have Adames. They do go get Rafi Devers as well, but kind of a team that and Young Hooley, of course, as well. But those guys, I think that's been a big complaint about the Giants, when you're not a lot of that, those like big, crazy, like flashy names type of thing. Despite being a solid, I guess by their standards, kind of medium, middling, but a team with very solid talent as well. And then we go to Arizona just to compare here. You're talking about, Hunter Goodman being the 7th best player, but interestingly enough, the Diamondbacks, Eugenio Suarez is still the 4th best player by WAR this season there. So got a mix up. But when you're talking about, when you're in the Dodgers here, Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll, right? These are star level players. Corbin Carroll sitting at a 4.8 WAR this season. Ketel Marte sitting at a 4.2, and Geraldo Perdomo as well. Another, he's sitting at a 5.5 WAR here, as he is someone that has just continued to blossom. You're looking at these growth for someone like Perdomo, who goes, 2021, he makes his first debut there, but in 2022 is when he's actually an everyday player. Starts that season at a 0.6 WAR. Grows into an all-star the next season to grows that WAR to 2.0, grows the WAR in 2024 to 3.5, grows the WAR in 2025 to 5.5. That's the type of growth we need, the type of path you need to see, the type of stuff that Arizona is seeing with Perdomo, with and with Corbin Carroll, as these guys continue to kind of lead the way. And with Ketel Marte here too, he's been playing for a bit there, but he has been a real big time performance here, bounce back performance here, kind of after some, middling performances, really establishing himself well in these back-to-back all-star seasons for him. So you have to be breaking into that 4-ish plus WAR kind of that category there to get that name recognition up there. And again, it's not to take away from the fact that Hunter Goodman has not had an awesome season. 3.1 WAR from the catcher position. We are talking about performance from the catcher position that we have never seen for the Colorado Rockies. Right now, it does kind of feel like the sky's the limit a bit for Hunter Goodman. But these guys still need to put themselves in a situation where they're kind of competing with the big names just within their division to reach that next level. But I think both of them certainly have the tools to do so here. I certainly in a situation where, Tovar is going to go down where this was the decrease, but we're talking about Tovar starting off at 2.5 WAR in 2023, bumping that to a 3.8 WAR. The health is the big thing here. But those other seasons, 157 and 153 games played for Tovar, only 77 so far this year. So, of course, that was a big factor and a big reason why the Rockies are in the position they were in. The Rockies wouldn't be they wouldn't have been as bad for as long if they didn't play so many games without Ezequiel Tovar. So I think that these guys can blossom into stars. Next year is going to be a big moment, I think, for both of them, for both of these players. Ezequiel Tovar will be going into his 4th season there, 3rd, hopefully, when going in feeling healthy and feeling good. And Hunter Goodman is going to have to replicate this hot start and do it all over again and see where it brings him. Rockies try to avoid the sweep against the Dodgers. We'll react to it all right here on Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Be part of the show. Fire off your Rockies hot takes over there on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night, perfect for your second listen. And if you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs available to you all free and streaming as well and on YouTube. So go check it out there. Folks, until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.